But according to the last results they shared, we have a percentage of 53% females in Uganda. You guys are already ruling this world, this Kampala, this Uganda. So don't stand back and be shaken by all these words we're using, empowering women in business leadership. We can do it. We can do it. We are 53%. Can I hear? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Can I hear louder? Yes, we can from our friends here. Yes, we can. Louder. Yes, we can.
If you're building a small business where you're going to probably employ 3 people and about 5 million a month and you're comfortable, you might have succeeded. But all the challenges start when you want to grow. Grow beyond the borders, grow beyond the small space where you're operating. You want to operate more than 10 coffee shops across the region. That's when you realize the mess and the realities actually that happen in the investment world.
I thank President Museveni for waiting for me because I will indeed become the next president.
For those who may know or not know, Nancy Kalembe once stood as a presidential aspirant for Uganda. So can I hear a huge hand clap? A huge hand clap. Yeah?
I ran for presidency the last election, and everybody was telling me, oh, you're not going to go through. When the elections were done, oh, you didn't become president. I said, I am aware.
First of all, my name is Margaret Nachanzi. I have a background in HR, so I won't go too much into that detail.
I'm called Zila Arach Mary, co-founder at Easier Greek. I'm a computer engineer by profession and co-founded a company while at campus out of passion for technology, and I'll be sharing my journey, how it has been to creating a business that's now in 3 countries.
Hi everyone, my name is Grace Nafuna. You've probably seen me on LinkedIn somewhere. I'm a business development specialist. I'm the founder of Arise Women in Business initiative.
Fortunately, I've learned so much from the different fields I've been in. So I've been from petroleum to service industry to advertising to media. I think I've served in every industry in our country. So sometimes it's difficult but I'm a mother and the daughter of the Most High God.
Hi everyone, my name is Christina Lunkuse. I am a co-founder of Tonda, which is a technology company that is changing the way we discover and create social events. And the goal is that the next Noga Symposium event will be something Tonda partners with. Before that, I was a strategy and investment professional. I did that for about 8 years.
So I'll start off with asking a question to Christina. Christina, briefly share your journey to business leadership. You introduced yourself as a person who left the corporate world and jumped right into that, I think, for a bit of a year. And what inspired you to pursue this particular path?
Honestly, I felt underutilized. I felt like my job, the problems I was solving were having a very predictable outcome. I could see that if I kept doing something and I can say that I was the best. I can say that very confidently because I did the work, right? And I said if I apply myself and do everything the way I know how to and research but I stay on this path, within this job, even in another company, I could see that, okay, that my goal was to work for the IFC, for the World Bank, and that's the trajectory I was on. That was my that was my 5-year milestone. Yeah, but the impact, I didn't feel like I was being fully utilized. I was going into systems and just keep a machine running. And there was a lot more I wanted to do. But deeply, I didn't feel fully utilized anymore, and I felt like I had it within me to try something different that made me feel just like now I am doing something. That's really it.
I'm sure many women are sitting there and they're feeling, I've been in this place for some company or business for 10 years, 5 years, running with a system. What are the red flags that you can put there and say, I think that shows I'm being underutilized? What are the 3 flags that stood out for you?
One, I wasn't that excited, even when by the problems I was solving. And when everyone else is very excited after you make a presentation and you say, okay, this is how we are going to implement this is the suggestion, and everyone contributes, you contribute, it's a successful outcome, and you're just there like, okay.
Mary, what excites you most about being a woman in leadership today? Christine has just spoken about lack of excitement. So I think let's see what excites you currently as a co-founder.
So when you're trying to develop a new product, and people have never heard about it, it's crazy. It's crazy to think that a farmer can be able to order for something online. Most of us even doubt, I don't know how many of us have ordered anything from Amazon and paid for it. Very few of us even don't trust big companies. Now, our experience of first building the product, that was 2015. So 2014, when we graduated, we were very excited. It was the peak. I think so many startups, and the world was realizing that entrepreneurship, tech was the next big thing. So we went in full blast. We started participating in different competitions. Fortunately, we were able to win quite a number, and we had some startup capital to begin the company. But one of the conditions we were given is for you to get this money, you had to register a company. So that's how we started. One of the most exciting things that happened, we started building in 2015, but we got our first order through the app in 2018. So we kept asking ourselves, do you know this person? Do you know this person? But that was amazing. Like all the efforts, all the back and forth, all the late nights, and somebody finally placed an order through the app. And for me, that is consistently exciting. Reading reviews from customers. I get most excited by reading reviews from customers. I do that on a daily basis. The first thing I do every time I enter office, I look through the views, look through the analytics, who is saying what, who hates the app, who hates. So all that, so every time someone is actually appreciating genuinely, it's something that keeps me going and keeps us very excited. Today we have about 100,000 farmers on the platform using it directly. So it's very exciting.
So Grace, what would be the most surprising lesson being a woman in business leadership that you have learned through your journey?
Right. So I work with women entrepreneurs, and a lot of the work that I do is advisory. And I find that most women, and we're just having a conversation with Christina, is that we are not thinking big enough. We are thinking to serve our friends and family. We are not thinking to serve continents. I have worked with multinationals before in media. There's a company called Pulse Media. I don't know if you guys heard about it, but it had a Pan-African presence. And then I also worked with a company. This was in corporate, but these were businesses, yeah? Pan-African businesses. So I find that oftentimes, maybe because we don't have enough role models and mentors, but we tend to think for our neighborhood in Nigeria, in Shira. I don't know, where do you guys stay? Oh, please. Yeah, so the lack, especially, and I know that Namagunga girls are very, very brilliant. Yeah. So how about we take that brilliance to serve nations, to serve continents? The Pan-African continent is very virgin. It's filled with young people. Women are also the majority. So how about we, start thinking big and taking advantage of all of these African, that word.
Yes.
Yes.
So and the question I'm asking Nancy today is, how can women survive this? We're juggling multiple roles. We're facing society pressure to prove their competence. How can we, as women, survive this?
I ran for presidency the last election, and everybody was telling me, oh, you're not going to go through. When the elections were done, oh, you didn't become president. I said, I am aware. Are you going to run again for the next election? Yes, I am. You know you're a woman. Maybe you should start with member of parliament. I said, no. I've never thought of being a member of parliament. I've been thinking about being president of Uganda since I was 14 years old.
Wow.
And when I said this, none of my classmates is here, unfortunately. When I said this when I was in S1, you know that first week when the S5s come in to ask you, tell us where you're coming from and your biggest dream and all that, that's what I said. My biggest dream is to become the next president of Uganda. I thank President Museveni for waiting for me, because I will indeed become the next president. Anyway, juggling, how do I juggle? Every day, you put one foot in front of the other. I cannot really explain to you how I've done it. I've woken up every day and I've had all those fears. I've at some point wanted to just die, literally. I said, God, let me just die. But if I kill myself, I won't go to heaven. So that's a bit of a deterrent. But I've been there, I've failed at businesses, started again, woken up the following morning and you've lost all your stock and you start afresh. You lose money and you don't even know how you're going to start, and you start from scratch again. It's about that resilience of knowing I have to be. End of story. I don't care what you have to tell me. When people tell me, oh, but why are you doing it again? President Museveni got 1 vote the first time he ran. I got over 40,000 votes.
Wow. A hand clap, guys.
That means if we were to compare, I'm in a better place. So juggling life, yes, I'm a single mother, I know that. There are men who are single fathers. Or worse, they are running 6 homes. So if I'm running 1 home, I'm better than most men who are running 6 homes, right? So meaning, juggling life is your decision. I mean, we are ladies, right? So you have to be beautiful. And then you have to be intelligent and show people your brain, like Dorothy said.
Yeah.
But she was trying to be beautiful at the same time. Then you're trying to be a mother. It is up to you to decide how many things you want on your plate. If you want to eat posho and beans every day, no problem. But if you want to eat chicken, cassava, vegetables, everything, it is up to you to decide in what portions. And you manage that and deal with it. If you're failing, it is okay. Today I failed. Tomorrow is a new day and a fresh leaf. I did not fail tomorrow. I failed today and yesterday.
Thank you so much, Nancy. Brilliant, brilliant words. Grace, how can women leaders sustain and build a strong personal brand that reflects their values?
And I think the first speaker hinted about imposter syndrome. Oftentimes we apologize for who we are. We apologize for taking up space. And this is something that men do not do. I remember I wanted to work in oil and gas, and they had an incubator coming up in Kololo. And I begged this guy, I'm like, please help. I really want to be the national coordinator for the petroleum hub for SMEs. And he played around he liked my CV for starters, but he played around with my abilities and chose someone else, who later I find out had paid for the job. So fast forward, I set up my own. I set up the Arise Women in Business Incubator. And honestly, it was a blessing in disguise, because looking back, the person they had hired eventually left the job. My Arise Women in Business Incubator is growing, it's thriving. I am living in my purpose. So if you find that the spaces you are in are limiting you, break out. There's no room, there's no other alternative. So when you're building your tribe, ensure that you create an emotional connection with them. And the 7th C, which is collateral, feeds into all the other things, the branding, the t-shirts. You know, when you're standing for elections, you know how they put your face on t-shirts. and capes and all these things. So that's all the extra stuff that you can use to grow your personal brand. And I like that people nowadays are having personal websites. I encourage you to have a personal website that can act as an online CV for whoever wants to access your services. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Grace. I'm aware that has been quite comprehensive. So I just want to go to some of the vendors to see if they've been paying attention to this personal branding.
I think I'm going to go with credibility, because in anyone who deals in business, especially coffee business, especially the ones who do the international, being credible and sticking to your word is very, very key. So I'd go with credibility.
Josephine, do you have something to say?
My brand is clarity. I like clarity because clarity helps me forge ahead at work. I don't like to work under assumptions. So my team and I know that if you're not clear with me, you're off the team. It's what it is, clarity.
Thank you. Maureen wants to answer now.
So I'd go with competence. You need to know what you're doing. You can't BS people all the time. At some point, you need to be able to do what you said you could do.
Thank you, Maureen. I'd like to ask a doctor. What would be one of your 7 C's as a doctor?
I think mine is good communication. It's important, because people, not to tell someone your cancer. People come with all ideas from the internet, and you need to actually sit down and explain to them that this is what it is, but also still listen to them, because you can't necessarily brush them off.
Thank you. I think that's enough of a class session. I'd like to go back to my panelists. Student, please be calm. So Christina, I know you're passionate about personal brand, but I have something here I would like to ask. What strategies should women employ when pitching to investors who may have biases or preconceived notions in regards to certain businesses? For example, you'll find a lady, she studied automotive in school, and now she wants to start a garage, she wants to start being a mechanic. How would she be able to pitch to a company and say, please start bringing your companies to the garage?
Yeah, so there was something which, when someone talks about a woman in leadership, and I think this happens in corporate jobs, as you go higher, you become responsible for a team. And the way you rule that team may be the way you lead that team, sometimes I think, and what Dorothy says is, you first copy the men, because there's a style of leadership. This is the culture of the firm, this is how we do things. And then the more you discover yourself and know who you are, you start mothering your team. And I think they call it mothering, but I think it's just being a human being. You start to want to know their birthday. You want to know that, oh, today is this guy's anniversary, and he wants to leave work at 3 because he has a big date planned. If you have Gen Zs on your team, they'll come and tell you that, oh, I'm feeling a little bit nervous because tomorrow is, my boyfriend and I have an anniversary. Can I get off early today? And it's okay. She has delivered, let her deliver. But they'll only start to tell you these things because they're important to them. And I think the most important thing is, if you do what matters to people, then they'll do what matters to you. So if you have someone's back when they need it, it may seem silly, but if it was important to them that day as their leader, it becomes important. Something is important to you, they will have your back. Women who are in investment, women who are pitching their businesses, I think that's a very powerful thing that you ask the businesses. When you live here, what are people going to remember you for? It's something as a business owner that I'm learning. Every time I speak, so my clients are organizers of events. And every time I leave a conversation with an organizer of events, I either leave with a prospect that maybe after 3 more meetings, they'll pay me some money for work, but I must leave with a lesson about what matters to them. So learn about your customers. Because when women are pitching and you're trying to get business, that's how you sound competent. If I'm a business seller, I can explain to people now and I tell them Tonda is an attractive product because while majority of social event platforms are selling ticketed events, people who are hosting non-ticketed events, whether it's a band, whether it's a quiz, whether it's a market day where people walk in for free, do not have a platform where they can actually host their event. And an investor will know that there's something you know about your customer that they don't.
Just to add on what the previous speakers have said, and I think Christina highlighted this more, is the element of empathy. You have to really put yourself in the customer's shoes. If it means if they're in a rural area, be a rural woman for a day. Like sleep where they're sleeping, live their lifestyle before you create a product for them.
Over to you, Mary. I would like to understand better. You're into digital marketing, and marketing the agriculture world is a platform I'm not even very aware of. So I just want to understand, how can women leverage this, especially I think since COVID-19, so many people have gone into that path. How can we amplify our presence in that area?
If you're building a small business where you're going to probably employ 3 people and about 5 million a month and you're comfortable, you might have succeeded. But all the challenges start when you want to grow. Grow beyond the borders, grow beyond the small space where you're operating. You want to operate more than 10 coffee shops across the region. That's when you realize the mess and the realities actually that happen in the investment world. One, many people shy away from this, but what we have learned that actually color plays a role. What we have seen that having a co-founder who is white will get you money faster than you, both of you being white. And those are the realities that no one wants to talk about. But from my experience, it actually does play. When we learned that, when we got our investors from Germany and South Africa on the cap table, it actually became easier to raise money. So the same amount of money you're going to both look for, let me say, $1 million US. Someone will easily get it, and another, it will be so hard for you to get it. If you want to raise money, make sure you have a good team, a very good team, especially if your idea is not yet at a growth stage. Like at this stage, people who know their craft. That's why you see that a co-founder from a reputable university, if someone mentions Stanford, someone mentions MIT, someone mentions some university in the US probably you've never heard of, they'll attract more attention than you speaking of a local university. Those are the realities, not spoken of, but they are there. One last thing I learned is, as you're owning a business, mind a lot about the equity. Like, how do you divide your equity in your business? Let's not be friends. We learned that when we out of campus, because we are friends, we divided the shares equally, and then later realized that as things became harder, others were not as resilient as others, and they chose to leave. Now imagine you own, you're 3, or even you're 3, everybody has 33%. Someone chooses to leave. How do you take back the shares? When investors invest and they acquire that person, trust me, they'll pay them the same amount of money for the shares they have. Whether they've been in the business, contributing or not, legally they own it. So as you try to divide the shares earlier on, this is what I learned, that it's better not to have equal shares.
Thank you. The challenges we face leading other women and the challenges you face leading a men-only team are very interesting. When you're leading other women, it depends. If you're older than them, they tend to look up to you. So that's easier. They look at you as a big sister. They look at you as a mother. So the challenges there are minimal. However, if you're younger than them, the dynamics changes. Because yes, you're intelligent, probably that is why you're there, or you've worked harder than everybody else, that's why you're there. Women are not like men. Men have that sebo thing. They look up to a man who's better than them, richer than them, more intelligent than them, more educated than them, and they immediately respect. We see that from simple dynamics like in the home. The houseboys respect the master of the house because they say, oh yeah, ansinga. You get what I mean? But the maids will come to your home and say, ansinza chisiri mukazinga ye. They will want to equate to you because we women don't have those, we don't have levels. It's like, if she's a woman, so am I. It's like the only thing we have, when men are saying, let me show them I'm a man, he works harder, he has more money, he's more focused, maybe he'll grow in his businesses and all that. For us women, to show that you're a woman, you give birth, full stop. Whether you have a brain, or you are lazy, or you're dirty, or you're incompetent, someone who's azal anangenzal. Period. So when you're leading women, the dynamics changes. Are you leading educated women? Are you leading your peers? Are you leading older women? Are you leading people who are younger than you? So the challenges vary from the kind of group that you're leading. If it's older women, you constantly have to prove yourself. Of course, it is the same thing. But there's going to be a lot of, whether outspoken or in the undertones, you're a sex object. And you need to learn that.
Jackie.
There are things you're going to know that these are my advantages, these are my disadvantages. I am beautiful, so when I walk into a room, most people think I am brainless. That's okay. My beauty will capture their attention. When they start listening, they'll know I have a brain. And then you have to be very careful how you dress. Because the challenges of leading a male-only team is because instead of paying attention to what you're saying, half the time they're looking at your cleavage, your bum, your legs. So it is very important that you keep the focus where it ought to be. I've had the blessing of being the first female in a lot of spaces I've worked in, and I have to dress a certain way, not like them. I have to show them I'm female, yes, but I have to let them know I've gotten here on my merit. I've been asked in several places, who did you sleep with to get here? Like, I got into senior management in banking before I was 30. And I was asked several times who I slept with, or who my father is, or who I'm sleeping with. Until they meet me in the boardroom and they realize. So you have to, yes, we smile and we are happy, but a lot of times you'll probably not see very many pictures of me smiling out there. When I'm at home, when I'm with the girls, yes, I'm a very playful person, just like I was in school. But when you're in spaces where there are men and you know you're being judged on the fact that you have instead of what they have, we have to make the lines very clear. That you know what, I'm here because of what I do. I'm more competent than you. That is why I've risen up the ladder to this level. So the challenge is you have to manage humility and pride. And then you're also a mother. So we tend to be skewed towards, I'm helping the women, so you end up lifting up only with the women and somehow forgetting about the men. So you have to get those balances. When it comes to leadership, the dynamics become more and more complicated as you go up the ladder, because you have to mind being a mother and helping the women, supporting them. But at the same time, if you ignore the boy child, I have daughters. If we ignore the boy child, then who's going to marry my strong daughters that I'm raising? Half the Namagunga women and Gayaza girls are told that, they're difficult wives because they're very intelligent, they're very hardworking, they're very focused, they know what they want. So what happens? If our parents forgot the boy child, maybe it is our time to raise the boy children so that they can be strong enough. We need a balanced community. And as a leader, you have to know how to balance some of these things. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nancy. I want to then add on any further. Thank you, Christina, for joining us. Thank you, Nancy, Grace, and Mary. Thank you, Philippa.